Hello everyone, Minute Plus Meditation here, Friday, September the 23rd. We are moving along in the month of September. So it's Friday, always remember Friday, day of penance, choose a penance. The recommended form of penance is to abstain from meat for Catholics, flesh meat, because this is the day on which Christ's human flesh was pierced. But, church precept does allow us, bishops' conferences, American and Canada, I think they're a little bit different. I'm not sure about countries across the ocean, but you may be able to substitute the act of abstaining from meat with an act of charity. The important thing is, if you have to abstain from meat, do it. And then obviously you want to mortify yourself, for love of Jesus Christ and reparation for sins and for many other reasons. But the important thing is you do it, all right? You got to remind yourself, because Jesus said, unless you do penance, you will perish. So we all need to do penance, very much self-included. So Friday, mark them out. It's really important that we do this. It's not some church precept. I mean, yes, on Fridays it is, but it is Jesus who said, unless you do penance, you shall perish. So pay attention to what Jesus teaches. Okay, so Ecclesiastes, first reading. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under the sun, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck, a time to be planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, and he goes on like this. Actually, the Byrds, you remember, if you're a boomer, BYRDS, the group The Byrds in the 60s made a song of this. There was a great group, a great music group, so there's a cultural reference there. Again, we're getting this thing from Ecclesiastes, and this is, what this is really, is what we see with the eye. We see all these things with the eye, right? A time to live and a time to die, and he goes on, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to have a time to dance. So these are all the things we see with the eye, with the senses. And what he's saying is true. I mean, these things happen, the vicissitudes of life, the ups and downs of life, a time for joy. Don't forget there's a time for joy, and at times we can't escape from a time of sadness or a time of discouragement, because of life's natural cycles or things that happen to us. What's important is that we not only see with the eyes of the body, we see with the eyes of the soul. And that's the benefit we have as children of God and disciples of Jesus Christ, because that sees the eyes of faith see something different. So I'll just leave that with you and your prayer today. And hopefully you not only see these things, because people see evil, but what do we see with the eyes of faith, right? See the goodness, we can't ignore all the evil, but what do we see with the eyes of faith? Okay, over to the gospel. Jesus poses the most important question in the entire Bible. They're at John the Baptist. Okay, so Jesus says, who do the crowds say that I am? And they give the answers. The crowds say Elijah or one of the ancient prophets. And Jesus says, but who do you say that I am? And Peter answers, the Messiah of God. And then Jesus warns them and goes on to talk about the fact that he's going to suffer and die. I was actually at that place, Caesarea Philippi. He may have asked them, I don't know if he asked them again. He asked them this one time. I was there. I was blessed to be there this past June with Dr. Bergsma on the pilgrimage. We went to Caesarea Philippi, and it was like when I read this, the image is in my mind of being there that day. And Jesus would have gone there intentionally. It was quite the walk. And he asked them this question, who do you say I am? You are the Christ, the Son of the living God. And that's the answer that all of us have been blessed. Now we're blessed with hearing Peter's answer. And we know that the world answers in many different ways. Jesus is a wise teacher. He's a good man. He's a man of moral precepts. He's a guide. He's all sorts of answers, right? But we have the right answer because the Father in heaven has inspired Peter, the rock upon which Christ will build his church, with the right answer. You are the Christ, the Son of the living God. And so never take this for granted. Always thank God for the fact that you know the answer, but more importantly, live in accord with the answer. Don't just say, you're the Christ, the Son of the living God, but realize that when we do this and we believe, we assent to this truth, then Jesus has the right to require, to command, to demand that we do certain things. And he also gives us the corresponding power to live it out. So remember, thank God for the fact that you know the answer to this question. You are the Christ, the Son of the living God.